I mean, there's no reason for Nintendo to do something other than just make another better Switch. I mean, it's pretty much their unique selling. But well, I say it is their unique selling point. It was their unique selling point, and now the Steam Deck exists. So
Yeah, make a version that competes with it.
they kind of have to. Yeah, that is where they are right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because it doesn't matter how many emulation developers they try to shut down. Uh, that cat is out of that particular bag. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that whole thing was the thing.
You know, we brought this up because it's March 10th, Mario Day. Nintendo basically is in that spot where they we know there's a new Switch coming out. They haven't announced it yet. They haven't shown it yet, but we already know. It's like the most obvious leak in the world. What they did announce today was that there was going to be a new Mario Bros. Animated movie or new movie set in the Mario Bros. Setting slash universe
Mm.
thing. And they gave the May I think it's May 23rd for Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, and then a bunch of old Game Boy Color and Game Boy games coming to like Mario themed ones coming to the Switch Online thing. Just like Mario Tennis, Mario Golf, and like a Dr. Mario game.
I mean, let's be real. I'm not appreciative of how these stupid gimmick dates are supposed to be important to these franchises, and that means they have to have announcements for them, or
Yeah,
they have betrayed the audience. Like, come on, no, it's a dorky thing because the date is Ma 10. Like, fuck off. It's not really Mario Day. It's just a gimmick that makes you laugh. Come on.
yeah.
Well, I
Star
mean,
Wars does not
uh,
announce something super amazing awesome every May 4th.
I think they've done events for Mario Day before, but to be honest, I didn't expect anything anyways.
Hmm. I mean,
yeah,
Wonder came
I
out
mean,
last year, so sorry.
pretty much it was just talking about things that are expected and were previously announced. So, yeah, I don't see any harm in it. If anyone was expecting a huge announcement, they'd be disappointed. But no one should be expecting a huge announcement with
Yeah,
Yeah,
three big games on the horizon and Wonder just released last year. So
yeah.
yeah, it seemed like it was just a fun little thing that they did. The video was only 3 minutes, not even that.
yeah. They we've had a it's been a while since we recorded, but they did a there's been a couple sort of directs or things. There was a Pokemon one a while ago, for example. Um,
There wasn't much of importance announced there. It was a whole lot of updates and then two new games announced. The first one was a TCG thing. And I will admit that immersive artwork, that alone is probably going to be enough for me to get the app when it comes out, just to see how many sceneries like that there are that you can just jump into. And of course, Pokemon Legends Z to A. Legends Legends Arceus was phenomenal.
It was
If
the
they
game
do
that got
this
me to play
one,
my Switch again, which is saying
yeah,
something because I have not played it since.
I really liked Arceus, Arceus, however you want to say it. Um,
Arceus.
I'm gonna say Arceus because that makes Casey mad. But I
Arceus. It's an
really,
arc and it's a deity, it's a god.
but
Arceus.
I am very excited because I want to have that catching mechanic back and like the quality of life stuff. And the game's not coming out till next year, which means they're actually taking time to develop this,
yes.
which
Also,
is
I
it's
mean,
set in
nice.
it's
Paris.
vexing.
God help us.
I mean,
Yeah,
I am personally very excited for the opportunity to revisit by far the generation that got the least amount of love. We
Yeah.
had X and Y, and then Z was carried over into Gen 7 with the Zygarde Collection Quest. So now we just have
Yeah, we never really had a third version for X
They
and
were
Y.
pretty happy to move on from that one, and I feel like that was.
It was the game that came out in that sort of awkward transition between 2D and 3D.
yeah.
I remember, anyway, remember at launch, there was a bug where if you saved in Lumio City, it would completely corrupt your save file.
Now, granted, Kalos introduced a lot of great things. Besides the obvious Mega Evolution, that was the generation where we got Aegislash and Noivern,
Fairy type.
and yes, Sylveon, and Talonflame,
God,
and
it's a
also
shame.
Florges.
Talonflame kind of sucks because it's really cool.
Yeah, it would still be my favorite of the flying type early birds, basically. If it weren't for
Nice. Sorry.
Corviknight, Corviknight is simply the best.
Yeah, something that they showed in the trailer was um, the Lumios City redevelopment plan, which to me, I believe it's in the past. Though some people are theorizing it's actually in the future. Um, and the from
I
what they
think,
have
yeah,
said, from what they have said, the entirety of the game will take place within Lumio City.
Mm-hmm.
And
the
Lumio
entirety
City
of
is the entirety of the game, but Lumio City is also a gigantic area that we barely got to even explore in Kalos. We went on 9 streets in like the largest city that they've ever done.
when you put it that way, if you're going to restrict it to a city, but allow us to explore the entire city, I think you can make that work. I actually like that.
I'm back. What are we talking about?
We're talking about Pokemon Legends ZA.
And
The
don't forget the fact that if this is going to be in France, we're going to have the French catacombs.
That's what I was thinking actually. I was thinking we catch a lot of Pokemon in the catacombs in the underground area of Lumio City, perhaps.
This
I,
is
I, I
the
can't get
generation-
French Revolution out of my head, honestly.
Only
Oh,
with
yes, let's have a guillotine Pokemon.
Make a guillotine with Scyther.
I was gonna say we already have Scyther. You don't need a guillotine.
Well, we got a Scyther variant in the last game. Speaking of which, I just want to point this out. Of all the Pokemon that were introduced in Pokemon Legends Arceus, the ones that were introduced in that game, forms and just completely original, aside from Dialga and Palkia, none of them were native to Sinnoh.
Mhm.
So what does that mean about the spotlight for this coming game?
It means let me have
I'd also
Mega
like to
Charizard
point out-
X again.
Yeah,
give me,
no,
give me that classic dragon. That's
they
not a
are they are bringing back Mega Evolution, and they're also like that's honestly what had me like probably the most excited was, oh, we can actually bring back mechanics now. We're not just discarding them forever. That's a thing that we
Well,
can
I mean,
do.
Yeah, please make that a trend.
I mean,
please.
consider this. Since Mega Evolutions were left behind, we've had Z-moves,
Z-move
we've
sucked.
had Dynamaxing, and we've had, most recently, Terrestrialization. So they've gotten a good sense of what to do and what not to do.
Yeah.
So I've got to imagine that they're going to be bringing back Mega Evolution better than it was before.
Of the 4 of those mechanics that they tried and discarded, Z-move sucked ass. Dynamax was a cool visual, but mechanically not especially interesting. It's just kind of Mega Evolution, but a big instead of a different. And
Terrestrialization.
that one, I kind of hate. Like it's. I feel like that's too into the weeds in the mechanics. personally, is my view on it.
I've never actually heard of that one. What is that?
So
That's
the
the
way
one
Terras-
in the new generation where you can change a Pokemon's type.
Yes. So,
okay.
say for example, you have a Pokemon that's two different types. You could make it one of those types and then boost the moves of that particular type to make it a mono type, or you can go with a completely different type and switch it up mid battle to catch your opponent off guard, essentially.
Okay.
But if you terrestrialize it to a type that it already is, it gets the stab bonus twice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would make sense.
I'm not a fan of that particular mechanic. I feel like it's a bit too into the weeds and overcomplicates things a little bit, and also oversimplifies things in different ways. It's a weird one. Of the four, I definitely think Mega Evolution was the best one. I railed against that shit when it came out because ew, it's like Digimon. But in hindsight, after a lot of hindsight, it was definitely the best one of those new mechanics that they tried out.
It helped make a lot of more Pokemon, viable. The thing with terrestrialization and the reason why I think it is the way it is it's a lot of work to make Mega Evolutions for how there's so many Pokemon, right?
Yeah.
And so
Yes.
having a mechanic that can work for basically everything is a more it's an easier way to tackle that.
You're kind of making me hate it more.
Yeah, but I'm explaining like that's why they've taken this approach with Gigantamax, with Z moves. Ever since Mega Evolutions, they've been trying to go for very general mechanics that can be used by any team versus you need to have these specific Pokemon in your team because these Pokemon can Mega Evolve.
This would be interesting if, Pokemon Legends Arceus was, it had a sizable Pokedex, but it was still a restrictive one, nowhere
Yes.
close to every Pokemon that ever existed. If this one is going to be similarly restricted, and yet they still have every one that's in the game with a Mega Evolution, that would be both a tall order and extremely nice, especially, if this is going to be Kalos, then they're going to be including every Pokemon that was introduced in Kalos. And while that is by far the fewest out of any new generation, that's still a lot of Pokemon that didn't have Mega Evolutions, because the only Pokemon in Generation 6 that has a Mega Evolution is Diancie.
So it would be,
Oh?
I think it would be interesting to take advantage of the fact that they have a more limited roster of Pokemon to work with to expand on
Precisely.
Mega Evolution. Yeah.
I would definitely be happy to see Mega Noivern and Mega Dragalge. And Mega Flygon as well, but
Oh, please.
I have a friend who is a very good artist, and while she would love to see a Mega Flygon, she can't see a way to improve on Flygon's current design for a Mega. So,
The wings.
yeah, that's fair.
It has a single pair of diamond-shaped wings. It's
Kind of
supposed to
like-
be a dragonfly. Dragonflies have 2 pairs of wings. So you make those wings bigger, more elaborate, and 2 pairs instead of 1 as a start. Maybe make it a little bit more streamlined.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I won't. Everyone will be happy if we find a way to do it. Make it so that all 6 Hoenn dragons are there.
And people have been talking about starters because, you don't have
We had-
starters from the region typically. You have a mix like in Arceus.
Well, you can't say usually when this is only the second
Yeah.
game in this series.
Yeah.
So people I have some friends who believe that it's going to be Score Bunny as the fire type.
Nope.
Yeah. I actually think I think actually it would do Torchic instead. I feel like that makes sense.
I saw someone do a pretty comprehensive theory on the fact that in the past few trailers, I think, for the Scarlet and Violet DLC, Rowlet, Cyndaquil, and Oshawott were seen alongside 3 other specific starters frequently. and that might have been foreshadowing. I can't remember who they were, though. I'm pretty sure the water one was Squirtle, in which case I would definitely be content with that. I mean, Mega Blastoise is already a thing, but still. I
Regional
love
variant
turtles.
Squirtle. French Squirtle.
Sorry, what was that? I think I missed the punchline.
French Squirtle. Regional variant. Squirtle, but French.
Squirtle.
Instead
Yeah.
of the sunglasses, it gets just the big curly mustache.
I could see them doing that, quite frankly. I could see them doing that. And people would hate it as much as they love it.
In fact, let's just stop. Let's just drop the pretense and just give every Pokemon a French mustache. Let's just go with that. I would be okay with that. I would be fine with that. Like, that was a big thing in X and Y, right? Was the grooming thing. So just let every Pokemon have a gigantic curly black mustache.
It
Improved.
would fit fine on Slurpout. Florges with the big mustache. Chestnut and Delphox and Greninja.
I want to see Charizard with the mustache, and he snorts fire and accidentally burns his mustache off.
Oh no. Tragedy. The thing that also I want to think about is that this is the whole urban redevelopment. I think that, similar to how you kind of built up the town in the previous Legend games, you're going to instead do that on a much grander scale of building up the city as you do quests and progress the story and stuff. And I think that'd be pretty fun to introduce.
If they add elements of like those tycoon builder games into this, I will be ecstatic. I mean, I'll be surprised. But I love being able to build and develop things. Also, Casey.
Yes, that is more of a British Charizard, but I'll take it.
It's a start.
Yeah, it's just across the channel. It's fine. We'll get there. I feel like this is the point though where we do need to remember to temper expectations because it's still Game Freak and the Pokemon Company, and they don't do effort.
It is the first game
They
since
didn't-
Pal World, though, so they might try a little harder.
The only thing that
I would be holding my
Okay,
breath.
I'm patient. You can talk, please.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, sorry.
It's okay.
I wouldn't be holding my breath if it were anything but Legends. We've only had one game in Pokemon Legends thus far, but it's the best game that the Pokemon Company has put out in living memory. So I'm optimistic.
In living memory is a hell of a statement. I'm wondering whether you want to qualify that, but we can just okay.
Okay, in recent memory then, how about that?
Okay. Zero, sorry. Everyone wants to talk because we haven't recorded a fucking episode in a month.
Yeah, we're antsy pantsy.
Yeah.
So the thing that stands out to me here is Scarlet and Violet was a mess, and it only had some of the quality of life features from Arceus, and part of that is because those games were developed pretty much at the same time, with like a bit of it with Scarlet and Violet coming out later, and you actually see in the credits of Scarlet and Violet people who were on the same team from Arceus, so they pulled people off that game as soon as they could and threw them at Scarlet and Violet, which resulted in again those quality of life features actually even making it over, if that. So the fact that they've only announced this game, they announced it for next year. They've had time to work on it. I feel like we'll get something good, especially because the release of Scarlet and Violet was so embarrassing that Nintendo on their social media had to apologize on behalf of the Pokemon Company.
And it's still not fixed even after the final DLC.
Yeah, I will say
It's
though,
not
that,
as bad.
like writing wise, I enjoyed the DLC gameplay wise. I enjoyed the combat design of it. The actual moment to moment gameplay was absolute torture because it's slow motion walking in molasses. Like it was horrible performance, and I can't blame it on the Switch because there are much more intensive games that run better than that. But uh, yeah, I'm just hoping it's better than Scarlet and Violet, to be honest.
That would be
But
a
they-
start.
That's if it's just as good as Arcade, I will be happy.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that sounds fair.
How's everyone doing?
Pretty good.
Well, I'm exhausted.
Mm,
Go
been a
I
while since recording.
believe. Sorry.
for it, patient.
Go for it.
Well, I apologize for skipping ahead. Normally, I'm more patient to be called on, obviously. But as I mentioned, my time is a bit short because we're heading out to a dinner for Hornet's birthday at an Italian steakhouse soon. So that's going to be fun.
Cool.
So yeah, this week was interesting. After 7 months of job searching, I finally got an email saying that I had gotten a job offer from one of the companies I had interviewed with.
Hey.
Nice.
Good.
And then 10 minutes later, I received another email inviting me to interview for that same position, which would be the final step of the interview process before they decided whether or not to hire me. It was sent by mistake.
Oh.
I
Oh,
wasn't actually given the. Can you imagine?
That's really shitty.
sucks.
So yeah, it's been an interesting week. Yesterday was fun. I spent it at the Sherwood Forest Fair, a local Renaissance fair that's in town every late winter, early spring. That was very entertaining, and my legs are extremely sore, and I'm still very tired from all that walking around.
Makes sense.
Don't regret it, but cheese is the aftershock hitting me hard. At least I got in some proper exercise this week.
Yeah.
And I got a nice cloak out of it, waterproof and machine washable and reversible on top of that. It'll make for a nice raincoat, and it's very comfortable and easy to wear.
Yay.
Uh,
Did you just...
sorry?
Nothing, youngster
Yes,
Joey, don't
of
worry
course.
about it.
Well, of course I did that.
Anyway.
Aside from disappointments on the job search, to put it mildly, and the Red Fair there, isn't too much for me to say. I mean, it's been a whole month, I think, since I've been on the podcast, but there really hasn't been too much going on, just more of the same, all things considered. Most exciting was the Pokemon Direct, I suppose. Though, Princess Peach Showtime comes out in a little less than 2 weeks, and my sister pre-ordered that for me as a Christmas present. So, you guys will be among the first to know once I have tried the game, and I'm looking forward to it.
I played the demo
Looks
of
like
that.
a lot
It's
of
pretty good, actually.
Oh,
I
good to hear.
That is good to hear. So, yeah. That's it for me, and I think I've got about 15 more minutes before I'll have to head off.
All right. In that case, I'm gonna chime in here. It was my birthday last week.
Oh, happy belated birthday.
Yeah, I turned too old to want to say the date. No. I went out for sushi with my family. Had a nice time. Had some carrot cake the following day.
Ooh.
Love carrot cake. Had a great
Yeah.
time. The main big thing that I got though as my part of my birthday was I my parents and I split some money so that I could get myself a new computer.
Oh,
Nice.
excellent.
So previously, when I had gotten my computer, it was I didn't know what I was doing. So I ended up with my previous computer not having Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and also just in general being um, pretty just shoddily made, I guess. The front audio port for both audio ports on the front of my previous computer didn't work because it like fell over once, and then like multiple fans were busted on the inside, and um, so I went through a bit of an upgrade from a NVIDIA 1050 to a 4060 Ti.
Okay.
So I went from 16 gigabytes of RAM to 32, and this thing is extremely powerful. It's amazing,
That's very good.
and because it's amazing, a lot of the issues I previously had with my old computer that would result in my internet in my room suddenly going out, which was actually because I ran an Ethernet to the Wi-Fi extender node in my room, because I couldn't have Wi-Fi on my computer. It just didn't work. So I don't have to do that anymore. So I don't overload that node anymore and cause my computer to not have internet for like a while now. And I'm able to actually use my PlayStation 5 controller with my computer without having to have a cord linking me between the computer and the freaking controller. And so I'm not tangled up in a bajillion cords anymore because I can actually use Bluetooth. And I can actually play and finish Baldur's Gate 3.
I still need to try that.
It's very good. It's amazing when you can play the game and have a stable frame rate on the highest settings and not see everybody with like their faces made out of mud that's melting
Yeah.
because the textures haven't loaded in.
Yeah, I can imagine that being.
A wizard did it.
This land has been cursed.
Yeah, that sounds like something.
So I'm making progress in that. I'm actually able to go into Baldur's Gate itself, into the lower city, without the game deciding it just doesn't want to work. And I'm actually nearing the end of Baldur's Gate 3 finally.
Wow.
So looking forward to finishing that up. As well, part of my part of my birthday was getting Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which I have been playing. That is, I want to briefly say I have played some of the original Final Fantasy VII, only enough to like I got past the gold saucer and that was about it. And so they really like Rebirth is amazing because they they took Remake and its combat and just made everything feel so much better. The aerial combat is much improved. The introduction of like synergy moves, which you can use with your various party members. So depending on your team composition, you have different special moves that you can perform with your party members. Either the weaker versions, which are just like synergy skills, or then the full-on like essentially dual limit breaks that you're pulling off, which look really cool and are cinematic and do a ton of damage. And it's got a huge amount of exploration. Like it is, gigantic zones of being able to go wherever you want, fight monsters, explore, do all sorts of different side objectives. For example, you can seek out these little like summoning sites and like scan these things, and that allows you to strengthen summoning materia, or weaken the boss fight because you do a boss fight against your summon to get them essentially on your team as the materia for them. And like that's just one activity. All the NPCs from Remake are pretty much returning in one degree or another. and so there's a lot of continuing narrative there. And I don't know, I really like the pacing of the game because I feel like the characters have so much interaction with each other, and I can buy that they actually do care about each other a lot as they slowly like grow closer, and you have like friendship meters for each of them basically as your bond gets closer, because that will help contribute to which one you get for your gold saucer date later on. But yeah, I just recently hit the gold saucer in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which is minigame central, and it's where I'm never going to leave this game. Just like in 14. Get the gold saucer. Oh no. Oh no. They have an entire like
Phone. Sorry.
space combat minigame that plays like makes me think of Star Fox, where you're flying through and you're just shooting things, and they have a barrel roll button, and that's just one side minigame. It's really fun. So I think Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is a fantastic game. As somebody who never completed the original, but Cultural Osmosis has basically leaked me the majority of the plot of FF7 already.
Yeah, that's fair.
Remake and Rebirth are two fantastic games, and I'm really excited for what they do next, and what comes next in the game, because it's just been really, really fun and constantly full of surprises of new things that I can do. There was a whole like one like in FF7 original, you have a part where Cloud is part of a parade, right? And it's kind of a really bad rhythm game where he has to march in line with the other troops, so he doesn't like give away the game that he's not really one of the Shinra troops because he's in disguise. In Rebirth, they do the rhythm game, but Cloud does such a good job that they appoint him to captain of the parade. So then you have to go and find the different troops that are scattered throughout the city, recruit them, and then organize your squadron of parade troopers to get different formations, and like the higher difficulty formations, the better the result. And then you do like whole rhythm minigame where you're directing the troops to do their complex maneuvers, and it's really, really fun. Like they take small moments from the original and really, really make them shine, and I really appreciate that. And I'm going to say really a lot.
Yeah. It sounds like they've decided on more interesting, let's call them side activities, than the forklift thing that was in Remake.
Yeah. I've encountered a lot of mini games and side activities which are nice. There's an entire like pseudo Rocket League type thing that's really fun. With giant soccer balls, and you're running around as Red 13 and trying to hit the balls into the goals. And like, oh my gosh, they had a lot of fun just throwing in everything they could, and you can tell. I also, aside from that, I recently watched an anime that Casey recommended before, because I've been working out again and getting some exercise, and so I decided to put on some Netflix while I'm doing that. And watch Cyberpunk Edge Runners.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Good one.
So I recently finished Cyberpunk Edge Runners.
Yep.
That is a fantastic show.
Oh, God damn it, the song is in my head.
Yep.
I've been listening to that song a lot. I'm not going to say nonstop, but it's been a lot of listening to it. I highly recommend Cyberpunk Edge Runners to even if you don't care about the Cyberpunk game or whatever. Just the show alone tells a really good story, and I got really invested in it. And yeah, that's gonna stick with me. That's one of those shows that's gonna stick with me for a while, I think.
You get invested and then you get kicked in the teeth.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Which is
Cyberpunk. That's
kind of
how
the
that
premise
works.
of the whole show, so it's not like it's not a surprise.
That's Cyberpunk for you.
Yeah, that is the genre. What's the phrase? Those who burn shortest burn brightest, or something like that.
Something along those lines. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of the whole idea of cyberpunk as a subgenre more than anything else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was just I keep there's a mod in 14 that allows you to change the music of one mount to that song from Cyberpunk Edge Runners. And not to say that I use any illegal mods, but it's quite an interesting mod. Just saying.
I mean, it's an aesthetic mod. Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Like, the big problem they have is gameplay mods. That's the thing.
Yeah. I only ever use anything aesthetic. I also beat Persona 3 Reload.
Nice.
Completed that game. That is a very, very good, essentially remake of Persona 3 FES. And I could say that because they're now doing the Answer DLC expansion and calling it Episode I, guess.
Yeah, let's hope it doesn't suck.
I'm hoping.
That is a concern for this one specifically because like Base 3, it's a pretty good game. Definitely wouldn't say it's the best in the Persona series, but it's a pretty good game. Just remake it and bring gameplay standards up to normal, and that's fine. And the answer was not. The answer was bad as a game. Story there was important stuff there, but as a game, it sucked ass. Like, So,
that's one of those that I don't remember if I even beat it or if I played it for a couple hours, dropped it, and then looked up the ending on YouTube.
yeah, it is a grind fest, even more so than the main game.
Persona 3 Reload made significant changes to Tartarus to make it much more fun to explore. And through essentially adding in higher difficulty areas, these monad doors that appear, as well as different other random events and things that can happen to make it so that every run of Tartarus feels distinct. It's kind of a little bit roguelite in that sense. Whereas you progress through the game, you get these major Arcana cards, and you have more that you unlock through the monad doors that can change and modify your experience in Tartarus for that trip.
Nice.
For example, one will make it so that you gain more experience, or one will make it so that you deal more attack damage, or one will make it so that you can now pick 2 cards at every shuffle time.
Sort of like what Jose could do in Persona 5 Royal. That comparison aside, though, my time is up, so I am afraid I'll have to leave you three gentlemen for now.
Bye,
Hopefully
patron.
we'll be able to meet again next week.
Yeah.
See you next week.
Sounds good. See you next week, hopefully.
Hopefully. Not holding my breath after all this. All right. Wrap.
Close. Almost.
Yeah, you cut that off. Not roguelite.
Yeah.
I mean, do you still die in the dungeon? Does the game end?
I mean,
'Cause
no, but
that's what roguelite means. Is you die and you get to go again with all the stuff you collected. That's not what
I just meant that it had the similar element of having things that make the runs different every time you do it. Not fully 100% accurately, just that thing.
Yeah, that let's not muddy definitions any more than they already have been by the fact that there is a roguelite as opposed to a roguelike. Like, that's different things.
Yeah, it's already confusing. Yeah, no. They made Tartarus much more fun than the original, so I have faith that they'll make the answer much more fun than the original. Was my point.
Honestly, make it way shorter. Like, that's it. Just make it way shorter.
And there's additional stuff in Reload. They added linked episodes, which are essentially, as the story progresses, you can have little hangouts with the different male characters in your party that reflect what's happening in the story. So, like, you have Junpei, Akihiko, Shinjiro, Koromaru, Ken. You can hang out with them, and hang out with them, not only, like, if you complete all their hangouts, you get a persona out of it that you can fuse. but you also get, more story, more context, more on that character because they didn't have that in the original.
Sort of a pseudo social link for the fact
Yeah,
that you don't have those because you're not a lady.
you have pseudo social links with them. They added in a few more extra scenes with the Strega members as well, to kind of build them up a bit more, flesh them out a bit more. And they also added in these hangouts at night. So at night, you can hang out with a party member doing activities like reading alongside them, gardening with them, cooking with them, or essentially watching TV with them, watching a movie. Like you watch essentially National Geographic with Koromaru on wolves, and Koromaru gets really into it.
Of course he does.
But essentially, every character has 6 of these hangout events that you can do, and once you complete 3 of them, you gain a new. You improve their third G abilities. So third Gs are a new mechanic where everybody has essentially their limit break, as it were. That vastly changes. Like, okay, this will be like one big hit on one enemy that ignores weaknesses. Their Gs always ignore resistances or weaknesses the enemy may have to a damage type.
I
Um,
I know you hate it when I pick at your pronunciation, but theurgy.
Theurgy. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. I'm not very good at pronouncing it. I will admit.
It's think theist because it's about gods, like
Mm,
powers of gods. Theurgy.
yeah, Theurgy. Uh, so some characters have, okay, this is a huge damaging Theurgy, or this is a Theurgy that will give the entire party charge, or give the entire party concentrate, essentially. And then Fuka also has her own Theurgy so that she can uh, chime in and give random buffs to the entire party. They actually do a good job of making the Navigator feel like a party member because she has multiple abilities that can help a lot with exploration, and also the Theurgy, which can come into clutch in battles.
Yeah.
And they moved all the
Futaba thing.
yeah, and they moved all the fusion spells into Theurgies essentially.
Yeah.
So your main character will have multiple Theurgies, and then your party members will get 2 Theurgies each. One they have at the start, and the second one they get when story events happen and they awaken their persona. And they're really cool. They're really cinematic and fun to watch. I really appreciate them. Uh, so having that as an element of combat and how that plays into things it makes it very interesting. My younger brother was very disappointed with the game because he was like, "Man, it's so easy." I'm like, "What? Okay, well, let's take a look." And he's playing on normal, and he immediately went to go max out the attack stats on his personas. So he's running around with like 99 magic stat persona, being like, "Why does this boss die in like 3 turns?" I'm like,
Yeah, I wonder. It's a mystery.
turn the difficulty up, but there's no reward for it. But you have more fun with the game that way if you want to be challenged. Yeah.
Youngins.
Because you can be like, instead of going to do social stuff, I'm going to go to the arcade and increase my persona stats and just do that. Naturally, he's not going to get all the social links done in the first run, but that's kind of tight. The timing is still relatively tight in Persona 3 Reload.
I would assume so. Like, if those hangouts take time, then that's just a whole extra thing of time being taken up.
Yeah, the linked episodes take daytime, the hangouts take nighttime, and I managed to do all social links and hangouts and like everything, but I finished my last social link on the very last day of the game. And that was after like I screwed around a little bit, right? Like if I had screwed around a little bit more, I would have missed it by like one day. So it is pretty tight. Even if you're playing optimally on your first playthrough, you'll likely have less than a week of leeway to work with. So bear that in mind. I was going in with the mentality of, if I don't do it, I'll just do a New Game Plus. So fortunately I was able to do that.
Yeah.
The Elizabeth fight is still pain.
Does it work the same?
Yes.
Mm.
They
What
did
does
not
that fight
change
work
it.
again? You have to do specific elemental damage or something?
She has a specific set of actions that she will take on every single turn, and if she gets through all of them, I believe she will do what was it? Armageddon or something?
So she has a specific set of rules that she has.
Yeah.
Number one, you must fight her solo. Number one, no personas or accessories that block, repel, or absorb damage are allowed. No accessories that null any kind of attack are allowed. You can't use Tetrakarn or Makarakarn to reflect moves, and you must beat her in 100 turns. If you break any of those rules, she will heal herself with Pixie for 20,000 HP and then deal 9,999 damage to you with a Megadolon.
Huh. Okay, then.
Yeah. So she is pretty rough.
Yeah.
Because
it's not a challenge fight, it's a gimmick fight. It's a raid boss where you just have to figure out what the peculiarities of it are rather than, it just playing by the regular rules.
it's a boss that is best to handle in New Game Plus, personally, but you can try it on your first playthrough the game. I did it. She kicked my butt. But, I think that Reload is a fantastic version of Persona 3. It's my favorite version of Persona 3. The fact that every social link is voice acted helps immensely with like making everything hit a bit more. And yeah, highly, highly recommend that game. The visual presentation is top notch. The gameplay is much improved, and the voice acting performances, like they have a pretty much new cast of VAs for this game, and they all do an exceptional job. So highly recommend that game. And I guess the last thing I wanted to talk about is that yesterday I went to a job fair for the first time.
Okay.
Because people are looking to hire, teachers. So I went to a job fair and took some hands, talked to some people who are working with different school districts, and oh gosh, social anxiety. It was really crowded, and I did my best. I wore a suit. And I got one person said, "Oh, hey, if you come back afterwards, we're doing some on-the-spot interviews at 2 p.m." So I'm like, "Okay, cool. So I leave the venue, right? And like this thing's open from like 10 to 1 p.m., 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. And I'm leaving around like 11 because I've spent an hour there just talking to people. And this job fair is in a very small room
Yeah.
with
they tend
like
to be.
15 different desks and then huge lines then forming for each of those desks. It's a maze to get in and out of that place. So I talked to everybody I needed to, got their information that I needed to, head out. I'm like, okay, cool. I'll be back at 2 p.m. Maybe this will be a good interview. Maybe I get hired on the spot. And I head back there at 2 p.m. and I'm about to go in there, and I'm really nervous. So I pray, "Hey God, if this is not the right path for me, I know you open doors and close others. So let's just, if it's not for me, close that door." So I head out, and I go to the job fair place. Parking lot is completely empty. I go to the door, and I try to open it, and the door is locked.
Yeah. Yeah, I do remember the details of the story that you mentioned earlier.
You get the time wrong?
So I had heard them say 2 p.m. I did get the time correct. But I think what had happened is that they ended that job fair either slightly early or right as soon as they ended. They did their on the spot interviews, wrapped up around maybe 1:30 because the job interview ends at 1.
Yeah.
And then by 2 p.m., the time when I was told to come, everybody had already left.
Yeah.
Well, that sucks.
Yep. But it's okay. I didn't really want to work for that school district anyways. They're like up in the snow
Yeah,
in
I
the
was gonna
mountains.
say, are you talking actually, or are we talking blackjack and hookers here? Like,
No, I mean like they are far away. They get snow everywhere that makes it hard to travel.
hmm,
And I would not be able to easily commute there.
hmm,
So, I mean, I was mainly going there for the practice of the interview, more so than
Mm.
actually going in for a job, but it was frustrating. Also, I really have to go to the bathroom, so I'm gonna say that's end of my stuff for now. I'll be back.
okay. How's it going, Slice?
Uh, this week's been a kind of a mixed bag. I
It's been
played
a month,
Twilight
but yeah.
Imperium for the first time.
Sorry.
It's been a mixed month. I played Twilight Imperium for the first time, which is one of those board games that takes you devote a day to it or a weekend if you're
Ooh,
playing with a group of new people.
boy.
Yeah, yeah. So thankfully our game only took 9.5 hours with 4 people. Uh, and it, I've never experienced that level of brain drain before where I could not, it hurt to think after
Hmm.
I got done playing that game. I had to just sit in my recliner and put on a YouTube video and try my best to stop. But I had a great time playing it. The game itself was really fun. It was just really exhausting.
Hmm.
And I played a faction that I called the Money Lions because they're lion people who their entire deal is decadence and mercantilism, money, trade, that kind of thing. They're
Hmm.
the only faction that can trade with everyone, even if you're not adjacent to them. You'd have to be normally you have to be neighbors with someone or bordering them to trade with someone, but I can just do that anytime I want. It was quite fun. Uh, let's see. Been binging a lot of YouTube. Nothing of real value. I just got done watching this 2-hour video of this guy watching every single Barbie movie, and it drove him fucking crazy. They're they're really bad movies.
Hmm. Yeah, that's a choice.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess it was a little bit of an older one because that was how he led up to watching the new Barbie movie
Hmm.
was to binge watch all of them and like try to make predictions of how the movie was going to be based on this BCU, the Barbie universe, cinematic universe. He tried to make all the movies canon to each other, which is not how they work. So yeah, that was a lot of fun actually. Fuck, who actually did that video? Because that was fun. I would actually recommend that. I don't have it in my history, unfortunately.
Hmm.
It was too long ago. Oh well. Uh, let's see what else has been done. Like I said, I tried the demo for Peach's Showtime.
Yeah.
That was quite good. They show off 2 stages in the game. One of which where you go into this kind of little sleepy hamlet castle town, and it's overrun by some evil force, and then they have thorned vines that sprout everywhere, and you get a sword and you break the vines and save a bunch of people. So that's like hack and slash adventure. And then the second area is you become a baker and you start doing mini games about baking things. And it was such a weird tonal shift
Hmm.
in both tense, you know, stakes and gameplay that I don't know if I'm gonna like the game.
Hmm.
I would absolutely play the game that is just a hack and slash sword fight adventure. The baking one was not as fun.
Yeah,
So if
I
it's gonna
feel
be
like
a
that's
game of
that's kind of what you're gonna get with that game. Is it's gonna be a grab bag of different things that they thought might be
yeah,
cool, and some will work for you and some won't.
yeah. So I don't
Yeah.
know if it ever goes on sale or something. I don't know. I know Nintendo games rarely actually go on sale.
Yeah.
If it pops up at GameStop and it's used and it's cheap, I might grab it. But
Hmm.
full price, probably not.
GameStop is still in business.
Yeah, yeah, they still got some stores around me. I mean, they're still in business mostly because of the whole tech bro stock to the moon bullshit.
That's kind of what I'm wondering. Yeah, like if that was actually the thing, or if it's just generally limping along as it would have done regardless.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they were definitely on the decline before all that started, and then it feels like you don't see anything about the store's brand suffering anymore.
Ever
But that
changed.
might just not be something they say. Zero, did you play the demo of Peach's Showtime?
I have not, but I have heard some people give some impressions about it. What do you think?
It's good, But as I mentioned, the first area of two that you can go to in the demo is sword fighting. It's a hack and slash adventure. Then you go into a baking area, or this beast bakery, where you bake a bunch of pastries and such. And it's just a completely different shift in gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't. It'll be fun probably, but if I'm only going to enjoy half the game, or maybe more, or maybe less, I'm not sure. It doesn't feel really worth it for getting it for full price.
Yeah, I've heard that like the rough impressions are it's a lot of ideas, but it's not really one concrete thing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean it's the evolution of the WarriorWare style of game of mini games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that can be fun though. It just depends on the quality of each individual game, and that
Yeah,
can be a problem in itself. Of like, oh, I have to spend 3 hours playing this bullshit that I don't care about. That's unfortunate.
yeah. I have also played Last of Us 2. Um, yeah. I guess it ultimately depends on what this if the story is good, the overarching story, and if that's motivating enough to keep you going. Fuck, what else have I actually done in the last month? Played a lot of Warhammer, played a lot of board games. Some friends of mine are going to Japan as like a belated anniversary trip. So I'm watching their dogs while they're away, so that'll be fun. Dogs and cats, although the cats are very, as cat most cats are, they're very isolated and independent is what the word I'm looking for.
Hmm.
They do their own thing.
On the mic, please.
I wearing a headset, I can't get any closer to my mic.
Oh, sorry. You were just talking quietly then.
Yeah, they're very independent, and I probably won't have much to do with the cats, but they're big black labs will probably mob me the second I walk in the door, and that's always a nice feeling.
Okay. To each their own.
Fair. I understand not everyone's a dog person.
Yeah, my neighbor has 2 dogs. I sometimes think uncharitable things of
Is it because of the noise?
the noise, the constantly scaring away delivery people, forcing. Our gate is broken, which means in order to make sure that the dogs can't get out, because leads aren't a thing, I guess. We have to shut the gate as much as it will, and then put my fucking wheelie bin in front of the gate to block it so that the dogs can't get out.
Huh.
It is very stupid, makes it incredibly difficult to open the gate, and delivery drivers are not a fan for obvious reasons.
Yeah, the fact that they're making it your problem is what I'm not okay with.
I mean, we share the area. There's not much I can do about that.
They're making it your problem by not buying a lead or some kind of restraining device.
Yeah, well,
I have very strong opinionated views of pet ownership. Handle your shit is what it boils down to.
oh well.
Yeah. Yesterday I saw Dune 1. Or not yesterday, a couple days ago. I saw Dune, the first Dune movie. Enjoyed it quite a bit actually. They did a nice job on it. It was a little slow paced for my liking, but they introduced a lot of concepts, so I'm kind of glad they went a little slower.
Yeah, I mean, slow is Dune, from what I understand.
Yeah, I was a little bit unsure how to feel about the Dune movie at first, but like thinking back on it, I think I liked it and appreciated it for what it was.
So I don't know if either of you has seen the second one yet, but
I have not.
that on. I have access to it through a friend, so I will be seeing
But
that soon.
I did just remember a movie that I had seen,
Oh, what?
Madam Web.
Oh God!
Why
I'm so
would you?
sorry.
Why would you? Like, I know you see a lot of films, and you see some pretty shit films, but you'll like give it a chance. But in this case, come on, dude.
Listen,
Like this, you need help. This is worse than when you went to see Morbius. Okay, this is where we are.
my dad had bought tickets. I didn't ask for this necessarily.
You didn't protest it either.
No, I needed to know. And now I can share that knowledge. Madam Web, actually, okay. So legitimately, there is a really good concept there in Madam Web. which is the idea of there is a superpowered villain who is extremely dangerous. You cannot beat them in a fight. However, your main character gets flashes of the future and can thus use that knowledge to essentially avoid situations where he just comes in and kills everybody. And having a back and forth kind of like that is interesting. I don't know how to feel about the Peruvian Spider-Men, the tribe of Spider-Men with strange Spider-Man like outfits in Peru. That's that's kind of interesting. Don't you understand? Her mother was bitten by the spider that the Peruvian Spider-Man tribe in Peru used to save her life. So her pregnant mother got bit by the spider, but then died in childbirth. So now she's Madam Web, and you can see the future, but she doesn't have any other spider powers. She can just see the future.
As spiders do.
The I can tell that this was made by the same person who made Morbius because the script was written by a high schooler. I can tell, I can feel it in my bones.
It honestly, I've seen clips of it, and it's shot very similar.
Yeah. There's dialogue, which is some of my least favorite dialogue and things I've seen, where it's just like explain this feeling, hey, this, that. You could switch and swap whoever's saying which dialogue line at any given point, and it would still make sense because none of them have a unique way of even speaking or differentiating themselves or inputting their personality into their lines. It's so lifeless of a script.
I just abducted 3 girls, and now we are going to stand in a circle and talk in the forest.
Yes. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. The main villain has a dream that in the future these 3 girls will become spider women who defeat him and kill him.
I am okay with not hearing about more Madam Web, so I am going to take a bathroom break.
and so he seeks to go and kill the girls. You know what's really funny?
What's that?
All the marketing shows them in those Spider Women outfits.
Oh yeah, I thought that was hilarious. Where it's only like his nightmare visions where you see them.
Only his nightmare that they actually wear any costumes.
God, it's so dumb.
Yeah, yeah. And then there's something about this like director where he thinks, South America, that's where all the superpowers come from. That's where Morbius gets his bat. South America. That's where Spider-Man gets the spider.
Mm-hmm.
South America.
The Mystic Land.
The Mystic Land. Like, come on. In the Morbius case is still the worst to me because it's just inject bat DNA straight up into my spine. That's all. Don't even do anything to the bat DNA. We just inject it straight up. You don't make a serum or anything. No. Just bat blood in the spine.
That's so dumb. That would just kill you.
I know. But, there's an entire side tangent where Madam Web's like, hey, friend, who also happens to be named Ben Parker, don't worry about it. Who's going to be having a nephew be born soon. Don't worry about it, Ben Parker.
We haven't decided on a name yet.
We haven't decided on a name yet for the nephew. You know what? Cool. Hey, can you watch these 3 kids so I can go to Peru really quick? I know there's a crazy superpowered murderer after them, but I need to go to Peru. Cut next scene. We're in Peru.
Don't you know how montage works?
It's the very next scene that we're just in Peru. Instantly teleported.
Do you establishing shots of like an airport? real quick, or maybe there's
Show
not going to be
Peru
the
forest. They say it's Peru, and then we're in Peru.
great.
That's it. No mention of even an airport.
No, because then that would raise some very interesting questions of how the Peruvian Spider-Man got baby what's a fucking face to the Peru airport and got her citizenship as an American somehow.
Yeah, that's never explained. Like, I'm going to go quick airplane over to Peru to go to the jungle where my mother got lost in and died.
Yeah, don't worry, I can find it. I have a photograph.
I could find. I have her. Yeah, I could find her. Don't worry, I could find it. And then one of the Peruvian Spider-Man just standing there in his casual wear, like, "Hey, I was expecting you." Like, what?
As was foretold.
Knew you'd be back here.
With our well-established future sight spider powers.
Anyway, we have this cool pool of water. If you sit in it, it'll like make your spider powers stronger, I guess.
That's what spiders do. They hang out in water all day.
Get in the spider bath water.
You know what? You know what? Them waiting there for her it could have been cool if they're like, we felt you in our web, so we came here. Or something like that.
No.
Oh, t-shirt and jeans. Sup?
There was a cool concept, but when presented with every option to do the cool thing, they did the lame thing instead.
It does sound that way, yeah. There were choices. You made the worst one every time. How have you rolled the dice this many times? And it's just bad every time. Statistically, that makes no sense. You just suck.
And then they have the gall to end this on a sequel teaser.
Awfully optimistic.
On a sequel teaser. Out of all of the various Spider-Man related, it's not quite Spider-Man, but it's technically in that same universe that Sony has made. I'm not sure if this is above or below Morbius, to be honest.
That's a hard question to answer.
You
I
had
have no
positive
idea.
things to say about Morbius.
Yeah,
That's a fair point.
is
There one good thing you can think of about this movie to say?
I mean,
This is a really tellingly long pause.
Yeah, like you said, the concept of future sight battle was interesting. You didn't really clarify whether they actually landed on that concept or not.
There's one thing in which she sees a future in which, oh yeah, no, he's gonna murder these girls if I don't get there fast enough, right? And then because she sees the bad ending, as it were, and then she solves that problem by, instead of running through the forest to that location, blindly looking for them, she knows where they are already, so she just drives her car into a diner and runs them over.
She runs over the villain several times in this. It's actually crazy.
It's effective, apparently.
It's only effective once when they ultimately kill him, even though he survives it several times.
It's less controversial than going down to the gun shop and buying a Glock. So that's probably why.
I don't know. That'd be pretty popular with American audiences.
Yeah.
But doesn't he... I think the worst thing in this movie is when she's having a weird vision thing and she goes to the old diner, which is now a bit abandoned because a car drove through it, and so it's roped off because people are going to have to deal with that mess later on.
Yeah, that's several lives ruined. Cool.
And then the villain appears in like visions. I don't know if it's a ghost or actually him, and then proceeds to give like actual information, like exposition. And I'm like, wait, but you're not actually talking to this guy. You've never actually talked to this person or met them. Why? What's with the weird ghost vision thing happening here? This is plot important exposition that you're just kind of giving away in a way that doesn't make any sense at all. And it's very frustrating. Yeah, no, I'm actually going to put this below Morbius, to be honest.
It feels like where it belongs.
Mainly because I can still laugh about the fact that Morbius puts the bat DNA in his spine. just a good old syringe of bat blood right in the spine, and that makes him a vampire. You know what?
Yeah, sure, why
That's
not?
that's funny enough, sure, right? And like they tried, but as somebody who I really like Spider-Man as a character. I really like the Spider-Man stuff. But the fact that we have Morbius, we have this mess, and then they still want to do a Craven the Hunter movie,
Yeah.
just stop. Just
We
stop.
can make our own cinematic universe with Blackjack and... No, we can't.
And failure.
Madam Web, by the way, is not getting a sequel, so thank you for the sequel bait.
Have they officially announced that?
Yeah. It did really badly. It did really badly.
Oh yeah, yeah. I genuinely don't understand if they just do not get it or they keep trying, and they have to know that if you want a successful cinematic universe, you just have to make good movies. Just put effort into the writing.
If you want a successful Spider-Man movie, put Spider-Man.
But he is in
Yeah,
it.
even just a yeah.
At the very least, you'll have people who like Spider-Man show up. I don't know who Madam Web is for. I don't know who Morbius is for. Like who I don't think I've ever seen a single person who's like, man, Morbius is my favorite character. Man, Kraven the Hunter is my favorite Spider-Man villain. And I would like to see a solo movie about him. No, I've never seen anybody say that.
I genuinely don't understand who Craven the Hunter is. Who is
He's a most dangerous game kind of dude. I need to hunt the most dangerous prey of all, man.
Yeah.
Well, not necessarily man. He just likes hunting dangerous things, and then hey, there's superheroes. They're probably pretty fucking dangerous.
In Spider-Man 2, the PS5 game, they actually use Kraven the Hunter to great effect by making it specifically so that he's out hunting villains because he wants the most murderous prey that he can get, right? And so there's a very interesting interplay with him, like essentially ambushing and like kidnapping villains and then making them battle and like fight against him and killing them in the most effective way after studying them intensely. And I'm like, that's cool. I can't imagine a solo movie with this guy.
Yeah.
The entire thing is about how he plays off of other characters.
I mean, I have to movie. It would probably be some kind of like ensemble movie where he's technically the main character, but he has like 3 or 4 companions that are with him the whole movie.
Sony, stop, please. I beg you. I like Spider-Man. I don't like him that much to go see Kraven the Hunter. Madam Web, fine. Like, Morbius was a movie I did not buy or bring. It's a movie that my uncle thought was really good and brought it over. Madam Web, the tickets were bought, and I wanted popcorn and candy, right?
That's
I wanted
fair.
to go to the theater to eat popcorn and candy and to drink a nice drink and be in the dark for a couple hours. Like, that's fine.
Well, it wasn't so bad that you were physically nauseous from it, so I assume you got to enjoy those things.
Yeah, I just was able to rant about the movie later in the car on the way home.
I'm just kind of confused why they keep picking these weird, fairly obscure Spider-Man properties. Like, they have the rights to Spider-Man properties for film.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of stuff you can do with. There's a lot of stuff there's so many bigger names than fucking Morbius. Like, he's explicitly like a D-list at best.
You could. I'm willing to bet that you could make a Doctor Octopus movie and have people show up for that. Right?
You could. The one thing is the weirdness of the licensing. Like, because technically Dr. Octopus showed up for an MCU movie, does that mean he is MCU now? Thus, do they have to go through Marvel to do stuff with that now? Maybe, maybe not. There's probably a legal argument you could go either way on, which means it would be stuck in legal limbo for the next 6 years while they try and figure that out. So, characters, Green Goblin, Doc Ock, the Vulture, you can't do anything with. And that other one. There was another one. Was it Electro? Was Electro in...
Electro was in the Sony one.
Yeah, no, but was he in
Amazing.
Homecoming? Because I know it brought back a lot of villains. Not
Yeah,
Homecoming,
he came back for that one.
No Way
No Way
Home.
Home. Yeah.
Yeah.
He came back for that one.
So the villains that were explicitly in that film and the previous two films is awkward. But you know, there are definitely other ones that you could pull from. Like you've got fucking Negative Man got a big push because of the game, so people actually know who he is now. You've got Shocker, who is not a big deal, but he's a bigger fucking deal than Morbius. Like,
I mean, I'd even take like Rhino or
Rhino. Was Rhino in No Way Home?
No, he only showed up, I believe, as a reference in Amazing Spider-Man at the end. I mean, you could do as well. I mean, even I feel like Chameleon would have a better movie because Master of Disguise, using many different faces, blending in, like you could do something with that.
Yeah, there's Lizard. There's what is it? Scorpion? I don't know whether it's Scorpion, but there is a Scorpion-like dude.
Yeah, Scorpion.
Yeah, the one that J. Jonah Jameson was kind of responsible for.
Yeah.
Yeah, like there's plenty of names that you could pick before Morbius, but you know, whatever.
Yeah, you look at like main Spider-Man villains, and Morbius is like
not on the list.
Yeah, he's not on the list. I mean, not even like in like the minor villains. Like he's below Screwball.
Don't remind me of Screwball. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Is it my turn now?
Yeah. Sorry, I
Yeah,
got
go
on
for
a
it.
tangent.
There is a game on Steam.
Yeah.
It is a deck builder.
Oh no.
It is called Balatro. It is a poker deck builder.
Oh, what?
Yeah. So it is essentially you get a hand of cards and you have to make a poker hand out of them. You get a few rounds of discarding to try and get a better hand, to build up something better, and you have to reach a certain score for that round, and then you get to buy new cards in the shop. And there are power-ups that include tarot cards, jokers, celestial cards, spectral cards, and all kinds of bullshit to change and rearrange your deck. And you can just buy like regular playing cards to add to your deck as well. To do wacky things, like for example, like you can get a tarot card that will let you change the suit of 3 of your cards in your hand. So, you get 4 hearts in your hand and you can just use that tarot card to permanently change 3 different cards into hearts, and then you can make a flush kind of thing. And that's just like that for the rest of the game. There are jokers that are very dumb in interesting ways. Like there is a joker that is like cut off, like it's ripped in half. So you have one half of the joker card, and what that does is if you make a hand with only 3 cards instead of 5, then it gives you a multiplier on your hand's score kind of thing. And just a bunch of like weird little rule modifications and a fucking massive amount of deck modifications to just make weird wacky shit happen with poker hands with just regular playing cards.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I can't stop playing it.
No.
Like it's been a weird thing because like I currently have 17 hours in it. I have gone through, like, I occasionally go through my Steam, what's the term for it? Steam recommended, fucking queue, discovery queue, that's it. And it keeps recommending me fucking deck builders, and I'm sick of fucking deck builders, and I just put them on ignore every single time. But this one caught my eye because I have a gambling problem, and cards are my thing. So,
Fair.
I thought, okay, this sounds interesting enough, and there is a Joker that is literally just a bus pass, and that's fucking weird, and I like that. So, yeah, okay. And then I played it, and then I couldn't stop. And it is taking great chunks out of my day every time I look at it. So, yeah. Whew.
You know, they added a card game in FF7 Rebirth
Is it Triple Triad?
called Queen's Blood. It's really good. And every time they introduce, oh yeah, no, new area. There's new players. There's new cards to collect. Guess what I'm doing? Oh,
So yeah, that's the thing I've been doing, is playing that stupid shitty game and getting way too
understandable.
invested in it. Yeah.
Understandable. I deliberately didn't unlock Triple Triad in FF7, no, FF14 for the longest time because I knew that the second that I did, I'd never make progress in that game.
I unlocked it and played like one game, and it was annoying, so I didn't touch it again.
Fair enough.
Like, the thing seems to be, if you want more cards for Triple Triad, you just have to play a fucking lot of Triple Triad, and I don't want to do that.
Or just buy the good ones with MGP at the Gold Saucer.
I don't do that either.
Yeah. Fair.
So, yeah, that's pretty much all I got in like a month. Oh! It was also my birthday last month. That was a thing, too.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
That was
Do anything fun?
No.
Oh.
I think I ordered pizza. That's about it.
Hell yeah.
It's fine.
Look.
It's whatever.
Look, you're over the age of 30. Birthdays aren't really a thing anymore.
Yeah, nobody cares.
Fine.
Mum got me another Pokemon Plus. She got me a big Squirtle. So I'm kind of okay with that.
pretty cool.
As birthdays go, that's pretty fucking good.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Something that I just remembered. I got something I wasn't expecting from one of my family members for my birthday. My sister's boyfriend got me a fishing rod.
Huh.
Okay.
And because he mentioned, wanting to go fishing with me before. And I have never owned a fishing rod before. Little known fact about me that I don't really broadcast. I really like fishing.
Huh.
Fun, honestly.
I actually haven't gone fishing in years. I really love fishing. It's super, super fun for me. It's in every single freaking game where there's a fishing mini game. I spend all my time in that fishing mini game. It's one of my like low key like secret passions, I guess, that I don't talk about. Is like I like fishing, and so I got
actually interesting to me. I have I love fishing too, but I hate fishing mini games.
so getting my own fishing rod. It was just like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. I got really, really happy and excited because I was like, this took me completely by surprise. I didn't even think.
Have you had a chance to go yet?
No, not yet.
I did not know I was hanging out with Kirito and Kiritu over here. Wow.
I mean, I
okay.
mostly wear black, so.
Yeah.
You can fight over which one is which, by the way, for my amusement.
I'll be curious too.
Dual swords only.
I love dual swords. So I'm going to be a Viper main in 14.
I've actually used 2 swords, so I do pretty okay. I'm not good at it, but I've done it. I have experience.
I'll just flail.
Yeah, that's honestly a lot of 2 swords is flailing.
Yeah.
So, I think that's a podcast, unless anyone had anything else.
Well, here's the thing. We need to read the fucking patrons twice.
Oh yeah, true.
Well, the good news is our patrons haven't changed.
Okay. Well, just read the patrons for February. It's like.
All right. So I'm on a new computer here, so it's a little bit trying to get this thing sorted.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Which moving over to a new computer was easier than I expected.
Oh yeah, it's very streamlined nowadays.
Although I did have to modify the computer briefly by switching out the SSD it came with instead a new much better SSD that had a built-in heatsink. Okay, so let's see if I can actually sort it by their thing on seeing things in Patreon is all weird now. All right, well, I'm pretty sure it's the same people. Yeah, it is the same people. So, thank you to our patrons. James MacArthur, Rehitsia 21, Sailor of House Thunderbird, Vale, Greek Guy, Ethan F, The Crossbrain, and Troper 37 for your continued support.
Yeah.
Through
you guys are
last
super
month
cool.
and this month.
Yeah, that's February. Okay, now read it for March.
Yeah, thanks again for March as well. It's the same people.
Yeah, do it again.
Thank you to Jason, Rehitsia 21, Sailor of House Thunderbird, Vale, Greek Guy, Ethan F, The Crossbrain, and Troper 37.
Yeah.
Yay!
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, scheduling got weird in February. We're not entirely sure what happened. It just all kind of went to pot. Hopefully that doesn't happen again.
Yeah, one of the days was like on my birthday, and then there was a birthday celebration thing happening, and things were just.
There was also a point when there was a storm or something.
Oh yeah, the gigantic storm that was sweeping across the west coast and brought like freaking hurricane level winds.
Yeah,
that was fun.
Yeah, your internet died, so that was just not gonna happen, even if we tried.
Yep. Good news is, my house was fine. Just we're too far north to get the worst of it. But it did damage our fence though, so I had to fix that so it didn't fall over. But yeah,
that's an episode. Patreon link in the description, Discord link in the description. Come hang out. Kenchi isn't there. I'm just saving fucking time
for the 1000th time.
Is Kenchi? Well, you see, he was here
a while ago,
and now he's vanished into the ether.
Yeah, he's still doing things. He's still wrestling. He's still writing occasionally. July of last year is the last thing he posted. He's doing his thing. He's living his life. That's fine.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
See you guys.